And we are live. Amir, my brother, happy Tuesday, 9 a.m. here in California. I think you're in Texas, right? How you doing this morning? Good to see you.
It is a beautiful morning. I went outside today, did my yoga, breath work, and meditation. It was very cloudy, and in the middle of it, the sun came out, so can't ask for a better day. And I'm about to take my first sip of coffee here. Cheers to you. Cheers to everybody.
Cheers.
Let's go. As always, remember, wait a few hours before you drink your coffee to be optimally healthy. Cheers.
90 minutes, guys. I like to bring Amir on. This guy's so fucking smart. I tell you what, guys, I want to do an episode and just pick his brain about his health habits and stuff, because he's one of the healthiest people in terms of eating, living an optimal lifestyle, so much stuff. Like, the guy goes out first thing in the morning, sits in the wilderness, meditates, does breath work, punches trees and shit. I'm telling you, this guy is a good bud. Migration successful. We know what that means. My ultra journey. How you doing, my brother? Lawrence Lopez. Good to see you in here. Hovey, we just saw you in there. Dakus, my guy, member of the Jake Hagan Show. We love you. MLB Almond. NZ is here. Hovey as well. Good morning, guys. Welcome to the show. A lot of stuff to cover. Philip said, who is that? It's my buddy Amir. Yeah, you're going to hear his thoughts. I think, Philip, I'm going to ask you at the beginning of the show and afterwards, your thoughts on Amir. The guy's a genius. We'd love to have him on here. A lot of good insight. Former politician. He'll give a quick intro in just a bit. R. Lake. Good morning, Mr. Gagan. Thank you for your time. Thank you, R. Lake. You didn't welcome me to my stream, though. You're not going to welcome me? Health is wealth. Absolutely. Ali, what's up, Ali? How you doing? And my guy, Web Warp. Okay, immigration successful. That is true. What's up, Valentine 50? Let's get in the show, guys. Smash that like button. But big news here coming last night. Our guy, your guy, our friends, and shout out to 𝗪𝗧𝗪𝗧𝗛 as well. Good to see you in here. SBF was arrested. SBF was arrested. We're seeing some reports coming out today, Amir, that SBF has already, before the SEC charged him, before the FTC has charged him, is already facing 160 years in prison. Can you believe that?
I can believe that. I mean, this guy has committed crimes against millions of innocent people, and the charges that are going to be thrown on him when he gets to America and they officially charge him sound like they're going to be exactly what needs to happen to provide legitimacy to the American system and show that justice can still be served in this world.
Yes, exactly. It's very, very important. 160 years. They're coming down hard. A lot of people weren't really sure what they were going to be doing with him, right? They were like, hey, he's going to get off easy. And it looks like the SEC and the FTC are going to be coming down extremely hard. John Ray, who's the acting CEO of FTX, just testified this morning. I caught some of it. I heard a lot of it from Rodney, but essentially he was just throwing shade. Can you believe this? Can you believe this, Amir? They were keeping their accounting records on QuickBooks. For a multi-billion-dollar industry, they were keeping their accounting records on QuickBooks.
So I'm a business owner, right? And through these last few years, I don't have a multi-billion-dollar business yet, but through these years of building up my business, one of the biggest things that I noticed in the entrepreneurial growth was the fact that most entrepreneurs have little to no understanding of how to properly do accounting, how to properly do their taxes, how to get ready for those things. And there's really no education on these topics. I had to go through, multiple problems with taxes and tax people before I eventually learned what's right, what's wrong. So I can imagine if, for example, my company became a multi-billion-dollar company within a couple of years, and I didn't have the groundwork to build all of that previous entrepreneurial knowledge, then I could understand how that mistake could be made. It just has to do with pure ignorance in the entrepreneurial journey and business. I mean, there aren't that many blueprints in business, especially in cryptocurrency business.
Yes.
And when you're doing things in such a decentralized manner, you stop thinking as much in centralized thinking. So I have to regularly pull myself back into centralized thinking, because it's a business, it's a corporation. So when you're doing a centralized business, you have to think differently, and it's hard to compartmentalize that. So I can understand why they did something so stupid.
Yep, I'll chuck it up like this. Shout out to Scottish Crypto, my guy, Scottish. He said, are you guys related? Do we look related, guys?
We kind of do look related,
I mean,
dude.
look, we
I've
both
thought
have
about
dark
that
hair,
before.
haircut, beards. Like we look similar. What ethnicity are you?
My family's from Iran. I'm Iranian. Iranian
Iranian.
American. Yep.
Yep. Shout out to Bree. Bree, welcome to the show. We love Bree in here. Iranian. I want to talk about Iran because there's a lot of crazy shit happening in Iran. But we'll talk about that in a second. I want to get your opinion on what's happening there. But
I would love to talk about Iran. It definitely needs to happen, especially with those executions that are happening one day after another right
is
now.
it YouTube? Is it YouTube specific, or do we take it to Twitter where we can have free speech? That's the question.
Well, we can. That's the beautiful thing, is that the Iran topic is not being censored by social media. It seems like there are enough Iranian Americans working at these social media companies to where they kind of let the people know, hey, this is serious. We're having a revolution. We need your help. So I haven't been censored with the Iran stuff, and I've been making a lot of Iran content lately. I was very surprised because I thought I would.
Cool. We'll chat about that then. But yeah, back to the SBF thing. The way that I chalked it up, and I could be wrong, this is just my personal opinion on this situation, right? They made their money by arbitraging the system, right? They would buy crypto in America and they would sell it on a South Korean exchange. Let's just say this is an example of the prices were different then, but let's say you bought it at 16,000, you were able to sell it on a South Korean exchange for $17,000. So they made millions and millions and millions of dollars at an all-time low. It was legal as in it was allowed. Like that's not illegal to do. There was a flaw in the system from the South Korean exchange. It was legal. There's no fault in that. They're gaming the system, right? Like it was legal. It was fine. So what happened was they made millions of dollars, and he said, "Hey, we have millions of dollars. Let's start an exchange. That's how you make real money." He literally went out to his buddies and his friends from college, started an exchange. Like you said, it started up as probably something small. They weren't really running the numbers. They didn't really have the books. They used QuickBooks. They didn't hire any professionals or financial people to run the business. CFOs, chief financial officers. The CEO was Caroline Ellison, the CEO of Alameda, right? So it was just started from the beginning. Crypto ended up absolutely taking off. They started FTT token, and one thing led to another. Now they have billions and billions of dollars in assets. And what do you do with that money? Well, you give back. You give back to politicians. You donate to charity. You buy the naming rights of the Miami Heat arena. You pay Tom Brady and Steph Curry. You get Super Bowl ads. They had so much money that they didn't know what to do with it. So I think it just started off as kids that they didn't expect to be the second biggest exchange in the world ever, right? They became the second biggest exchange in the world. It got way too big, and one thing led to another. But you can't explain the fact that they were taking customer funds and investing those funds, using those funds to buy mansions, investing those funds into shit coins. Like that's where you draw the line, and that's why this thing turned into what it did. Because it's not the fact that they made money and created a large exchange; it's what they were doing with that money.
Yeah, and Jake, me and you are from California, so we
Yes.
understand the whole tech industry and
Yep.
how investments usually go in that world, in the Silicon Valley style investor world, where it's some 20-something-year-old kid.
Yeah.
They have an idea, and then some investors just throw millions of dollars at them, and they don't know what to do with that kind of money. And as a result, these kinds of issues happen. I mean, this is why so many Silicon Valley tech companies fail. The goal of investors is usually just, throw at 20 different startups. And then if one hits, then I'll make my money back and it'll be all good. But people don't mention the disasters that happen with all of those failures in startups. So essentially, this was just a short-lived startup that got a bunch of money thrown at it because it was some people that knew how to talk well to the investors. And as a result, they got the money and they didn't spend it well, which is a very common thing that happens in the Silicon Valley tech world. And we just saw that happen again with FTX.
It's greed, Amir. It is greed. This guy could have made enough money to live forever. I mean, the guy was driving a Toyota Camry, right? Like, and no shade to Camrys. I think they're nice cars, but why was he playing that role and doing what he was doing? Was it to hide the fact that he was doing what he was doing? It's like, dude, he could have made enough money to live comfortably forever, to take care of his family, his kids, but greed is the downfall of this society. Greed is always the downfall. You want more. If you have the second biggest exchange in the world, you're going to be fine. You're going to be a multi-millionaire, hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars. Why does greed always play such an important role in the downfalls of these people and companies?
You know, I've been thinking about this a lot, and I regularly bring up where he's from, where he went to school, because that's where we're from, Jake. So we have a very good understanding of people's general mindsets on the coast of California.
Explain it, because
So
I'm actually from the South. I'm from Tampa, but I lived in the Bay Area, right? And that's kind of where we connected. But you're from the Bay Area, right? What is the mindset? I've hung out with a lot of people, but I'd like to hear from you. Like, what is the mindset of these kids? Let's say a kid that's grown up in Danville or Berkeley, which is like the East Bay. Like,
you know Danville?
I lived in Diablo, so I know the Danville kids, right? So like,
Oh my
what's
God,
their
I'm from
mindset though?
Walnut Creek, so that's
Yeah.
so you know the area.
I know the area. So what is, because I know it, dude. I know these kids. It's like you can spot them out because I'm wearing a Lulu jacket. It's not Patagonia, but they're wearing their Patagonia jackets and they went to Berkeley. And it's like, explain the mindset of these kids from the Bay Area. And it's not all guys. We're not speaking in absolutes, but most of them.
Yeah, Bay Area culture is very interesting. I was born and raised in the Bay Area, and then I lived in Los Angeles. I went to UCLA, so I've kind of had a nice balance of the coast of California. The thing about I call them, the Silicon Valley tech bro, is that they're a lot of these people that I went to high school with and school with when I was younger. So I saw them come up, and it's to be honest, it's like they're nerds. They were really nerdy, and then they got a lot of money, and then they became cool because they're in tech. And if you don't know how to handle being popular, I guess, you do very dumb, irrational things to just please other people. So, for example, he says, I'm driving a Toyota Camry. Bro, your parents are rich. You don't actually have to drive a Toyota Camry. Like, you choose, these are, the way that I look at it, it's like, yeah, that's a very privileged thing to say that, oh, I just drive a Toyota Camry. You could drive anything else you want. So it doesn't really matter that you chose a cheaper car that's maybe like half the price of a BMW. I mean, a Toyota these days are the same price as a BMW too. So, in that respect, the Toyotas are pretty expensive because everybody wants them because they're supposedly good cars. But yeah, the mindset is just very not internalized enough. I guess from a spiritual standpoint, a lot of these people I see don't put in the right kind of work to get to the right places. Just as a man, talking about the strength of a man, to be a strong man, you have to do things like exercise. Jake, you wake up early in the morning, you do your exercising, you do the right things to get your day going like a strong man, and then you slay the day every single day. You're out here hours and hours on these streams, providing so much valuable information to everybody, and you have to do certain practices to get there. And one of the main things I see is that, if you're some vegan who's on a bunch of pharmaceuticals and never exercises, doesn't do yoga or meditation or breath work or any of these things, never goes outside, they're sitting inside, looking at their computer all day, having artificial blue light coming into their eyes, never getting their circadian rhythm balance, you start doing irrational things. Just from a biological standpoint, if you treat your body in a very negative way, then the way that you will act towards the rest of the world will not be as positive as you could be if you do the right practices.
100%, guys. And this is why I like to talk to Amir, right? Surround myself with people like this because, like I said, he's always outside early in the morning, getting sunlight, doing breath work, doing yoga. And some people might be like, what does that have to do with anything, right? And he was the first person. I was vegan for 2 years, guys. I was vegan for 2 years. And Amir, we had a friendly debate, I would call it. I was living in San Diego, and it wasn't like a nice debate. Like I was kind of married to the idea of being vegan. It was being healthy, and this guy's eating fucking raw liver on camera, and I was like, "There's
raw
no
liver
way.
Before Liver King existed, by the way." So
shout out Liver King, juicing up, baby. Everybody knew he was juicing up. I was like, bro, like my friends were like, he's not juicing up. I'm like, bro, that body is literally full of steroids. I was calling it out before he came out saying that he got that he was busted for steroids. But you make a good point. It's like, dude, I sit in here, I have cameras on me, lights. And after this, like I always take time throughout my day. I don't even bring my phone. Like when I go to the gym, leave my phone at home for a couple of hours, right? Go on walks, like get outside. You have to separate yourself from the technology. And yeah, these guys were not working out, taking a bunch of stimulants, working 24/7. You're going to do dumb shit. Like it's not human. They weren't living a very, very human lifestyle, which is why we saw them do unlike human things, which is stealing billions of dollars, man. I think, and this is a good point here. I want to bring up this comment from 𝗪𝗧𝗛𝗓. 𝗪𝗧𝗓, is it 𝗪𝗧𝗓 or 𝗪𝗓𝗓? Let me know your thoughts. Or not your thoughts. Let me know what it is. I want to call you the right name. I think it's 𝗪𝗧𝗓. What do you think, Amir?
I think it's 𝗪𝗧𝗓.
Hovey 702 said, I just want crypto to survive all this bullshit. Good morning, guys. Let's move to a new chapter. I feel like we are turning a new leaf, man. Like last night we did our Twitter space. I felt like no one wants to celebrate a man getting arrested. Like it's not good to celebrate that. You wish he didn't do those things because you understand his family's hurting. He's not going to live a life. Like, I just wish he didn't do those things. But I feel like him getting arrested is a good step for crypto, because them coming down on this man with 162 years is going to do a few things. One, it's going to stop scammers from doing sketchy shit in the future, because, hey, if I can make a couple $1 million doing this or spend life in prison, I'm not going to do it. And number two, it gives that peace of mind to investors, Amir, right? Like all those people, I just went home for Thanksgiving and everybody's saying FTX, SBF, what's going on? Now that they see the SEC coming down with him, at minimum, it's looking like 162 years. They're going to say, oh shit, maybe this crypto thing is a little bit safer than I thought. Maybe there's going to be less scammers than I thought. So I'm excited for it. You know, I'm not excited that a man's going to prison. You don't want to celebrate that, right? Like, as a human, I don't want to celebrate that. But I think him going to prison does set some boundaries for, one, the scammers that are in his space, and two, people that are interested in investing that were kind of scared before, because people are like, what? I'm going to lose all my money if I get in crypto. Now they're like, oh shit, there is some sort of a regulatory body when it comes to cryptocurrency.
Yeah, this definitely boosts consumer and investor confidence in the cryptocurrency space. I mean, if we look back at, I like to look at just cryptocurrency history over, say, the last, since Bitcoin was created, say almost 15 years now, and look at the problems that have happened and seeing crypto not just survive, but thrive every single time. Every single time there's a massive downfall in crypto and people say, oh, it's dead. There's that website that's like Bitcoin is dead. All the times people said Bitcoin was dead,
obituary.
Right?
Yeah, the Bitcoin
and
obituary.
Every time the exact opposite happens. So, I just think back at how things were 10 years ago and how things are today. And the fact that the United States government is actually going out there and it seems like they are trying to get justice. And, to your point, Jake, we shouldn't praise somebody potentially spending the rest of their lives in a cage. What we should praise is the fact that justice is still alive.
Yes.
And if you do something bad, then something bad will happen to you as a result. I feel like, especially over these last few years in the world, we've seen so many injustices and there was no justice served, that this issue shows that potentially these systems are still alive and strong enough to actually provide justice. Now, just putting him in prison for life is one thing. That doesn't mean that people are going to get their money back. So I think more importantly than anything, people need to get their money back, and the United States government needs to find a way, just like the government in the Bahamas did, to get their people their money back. And I have a feeling that this might be part of the play for the United States government.
I hate to break it to you, Amir, but the money is most of the money is gone, right? Like they bought mansions for hundreds of millions of dollars, right? They took the money and they invested it into shitcoins, and the shitcoins are all worthless. Like, they had a lot of money in Solana. Solana was at $250 at the all-time high. It's now worth $13. So, so yes, they will recover some of the funds, but most of the funds are gone. Like, it's simple, right? Like, they put in, let's just say, $100 million in shitcoins. Now it's worth $30 million. The only way to get that money out of that is to sell those shitcoins and dump the rest, right? It's like, you're not going to ever get back the full amount. Like, the $8 billion that's missing through thin air, a lot of it was sent to politicians. That's where I want to ask you. So, Amir, before I ask you this, actually, I'll ask you it, and I want you to explain your former political background and then answer the question. But they donated on paper, I think it was $47 million to Republicans and like $47 million to liberals, Democrats, and $250,000 to Republicans. That's on paper. I'm hearing there's a lot of ways that you can send this money in the back door where no one can see it. Do you think, first, please explain your former political background, and then also answer, do you think that these politicians that accepted this money from SBF should give it back or keep the money as if nothing happened? Your thoughts?
I think they should give it back, but I don't see any precedent to where they will. My background in politics, I pretty much spent my entire 20s working deep in politics. I worked for Ron Paul's presidential campaign in 2012. I was a chairman in the Republican Party, state delegate. I was on executive boards, worked on congressional campaigns, different campaigns, things like that. So I've got a nice vision of and insights into every angle of the political world from the inside. And that's the way that most people look at politics, is from the outside in. But when you look at it from the inside out, you get a very unique perspective that shows, just like SBF had no idea what he was doing with the accounting, people in politics really have no idea what they're doing either. And it's just like a lot of emotional banter.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I tried very hard to do when I was in politics was bring people together so that we can find common ground to actually evolve America. But one of the issues I found in politics, and actually one of the reasons I left politics to go full-time into entrepreneurship, was because I realized that as I became more positive, happy, loving in my own life, all these people that I was doing politics with, I remember one guy said, he's like, "We don't do that hippie shit around here, man." And I was like, well, that's the problem, guys, because, they knew me as the guy who did all these practices that we were talking about. I used to do that back then as well. So I just think that, and talking about that 250,000 to Republicans, it's really funny that I'm seeing how they're being like, oh no, they gave money to Republicans too. Exactly. Actually, what they probably did, I haven't looked into the exact candidates that they gave money to, but what they probably did was they gave money to Republicans that were opposing other Republicans. So that benefits the Democratic Party. So if I was on the left and I was trying to screw over the right, this happens actually very often in politics. The other side will come and then start promoting an opposition candidate in the same party. And then those people start fighting, and therefore they split the vote, which therefore makes the other party win. Now, I'm not saying it's just Democrats that do this. Republicans do this as well. Democrats just tend to do this better than Republicans in the current state of the world right now.
And it's a way to say, hey, we gave money to both parties, right? Like
we're fair and balanced.
Dude, 48 million to Democrats and 250,000, and someone crunched the numbers there for me. I want to take it to a video that just came out. This is actually from 2 weeks ago. As you guys know, Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful, was sponsored by SBF. He was a paid spokesman, making $15 million a year. How crazy is that? The guy was making $15 million a year. Up until the last second, Amir, this guy was supporting SBF, saying he's a hero, saying he'd invest in his company again. Let's give a listen to this this interview from Mr. Wonderful. In honor of today's arrest of SBF, here's the video from 2 weeks ago, literally 2 weeks ago, saying of Kevin O'Leary, saying he'd invest again with SBF if given the chance. Let's take a listen.
If SBF knocked on your door again and said, look, I failed in my last venture. I have a new crypto venture. I need money. Would you back him?
That's a great question. No one's asked me yet. I think we can all admit, you can love him or hate him given what's happened, but he was one of the most brilliant traders in the crypto universe.
That we can't deny. It's like the way that he made money from like buying Bitcoin in America and selling in South Korea. Hey, it somewhat is brilliant. Sketchy.
Yeah, we should talk about arbitrage trading as well, because you brought that up earlier, and people don't really understand what this world really is. It's pretty shady. Yeah, there's a reason
talk
I
about
don't
that.
do that world. Yeah.
You're saying shady, and let's just, before we talk about it, we'll talk about it afterwards. And shout out to Kevin O'Leary wearing the Prada jacket. I gotta give him credit. It looks pretty nice. But he calls it brilliant. You call it shady. We'll discuss it in just a bit, guys. If you're enjoying the show with Amir, make sure to smash that like button. It's free. Let's get to 50 likes right now.
Given what's happened, but he was one of the most brilliant traders in the crypto universe. He also built one of the most robust platforms. We used FTX actively. It was a very robust platform that allowed us to get information on a compliant basis. So I really like what he built.
Would you back him?
The answer would be yes.
Wow. Look how long he took to answer that question. You know the answer is no, but he had to answer yes. Like, he's a paid spokesman. 15 million, I don't know. He might have NDAs or something in his contract that says no matter what, you have to back us. But like, listen to this, man. Look how long it takes him to answer this question. That's a no. Like, for me, if someone asked, Amir, if you say, Jake, would you back this guy again? I'd be like, fuck no, right? Like, it's not going to be like,
no.
The answer is yeah. Like, come on,
That
Kevin.
information on a
Listen to how long.
basis.
Let's
So
count.
I really
put,
like
put
what
the
you
timer
built.
on.
2.
Would you back him?
The answer would be yes.
6 seconds to answer that, dude. Like, that's a no. If it takes
It is-
6 seconds to answer something, it's a no. We're getting rated, guys. We have the whole squad coming in, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Shout out
Yo,
I Am Vote for
yo.
Life. We see you in here. Thank you so much for your comments today. We appreciate you. Obi in the house. What's up, Obi? Come on, son. Nah, no. Absolute incredible profile picture. Amir, pronounce his name. You get $1,000. Go.
Which one?
It's on the screen. Our screen.
Oh, sure. I do not speak.
You took longer than Kevin O'Leary. Shout out to Tom P.
we got
Good to
Russian
good to hear
there.
you in here. So let's explain simply for some people. There might be some newer investors in here, but let's explain simply what arbitrage is. Let's explain why you said that it is shady, and let's explain why Kevin O'Leary thinks he's brilliant for doing so.
Right. Okay. So arbitrage in economics and finance, it's essentially taking advantage of the difference in two prices. So you can do this between different cryptos. You can do this between the dollar. You can do this with the dollar and other currencies. And essentially what you're trading is that slight difference in the exchange rate. And you're making money off of that slight difference in the exchange. Now, I look at this, the reason I said that's shady is because I look at arbitrage as one of those hallmarks of the centralized fiat system that allows these shady actors to make money off of areas that money shouldn't really be made off of, I guess. So I've had very conflicting ideas about arbitrage because I was going to get into it before the last bull market started. And the deeper I got into it, the more I learned. I just realized this is one of those systems that I don't even believe should exist. And there are so many flaws that happen in the world because certain actors are freely allowed essentially to be able to trade these differences. I'm not saying it should be illegal, but what I'm saying is that it's a questionable practice that is a very hallmark type thing of the centralized fiat system. And as we see, people can make a lot of money off of it. That's why I originally started looking into it. It seemed really easy. And it's just, you make money here and there. And if you're putting a lot of money like SBF was, you're going to make a lot of money back doing that.
Yeah.
But doing this kind of trading could literally just shift the market very hard. So it has the potential to do that. So the way I look at it is if you're those people at the top, the whales, then you should be giving consideration to everybody under you and how your actions affect everybody and not just your wallet, because the future of the world should be set up in that way where we are empathetic towards everybody else's situation and not just our own. And I feel like that's kind of where our generation and the younger generations are going towards. So I hope we can just keep growing on that style.
Absolutely. DJ Cool Guy said, oh, you mean just like shorting stocks? That should not be a thing. You mentioned in the centralized world, my Ultra Journey said, we're seeing that happen quite a bit in Volt because Volt's traded on a couple different blockchains, right? It's on the BSC side. It's on the ETH side. I see that all the time with tokens that are traded on both sides. Like there's tokens that have a high market cap on one side, a lower market cap on the other. And it's interesting. It's interesting to say the least. Amir, how familiar are you with Volt Inu?
I'm familiar. I've looked into it from your stuff. So yeah, I see you repping it a lot, so I've looked into it. It looks like a cool project.
It's an exciting project. Let's go ahead and shift our focus now over to Volt Inu. They just got listed on their 98th centralized exchange this morning. This is an all-time record in any DeFi token in the entire history of cryptocurrency. 98 centralized exchanges in less than a year. And I understand there's some tokens that came out that did it. They're more centralized tokens. Volt Inu launched in a bear market. I believe it launched Power was saying on the 1st of January. I think it's like the 26th of December, but we round up because it's better to say 2022. But it did launch in December, less than a year old, 98 centralized exchanges, partnerships out the wazoo. They're one of their top UFC fighters is actually going to be fighting in Brazil representing the Volt Army. I'm gonna be going to the fight, Amir. We got to get you to Brazil. I know the whole
Dude,
entire.
Gilbert is a awesome fighter. Man, I really enjoy watching him fight. He has some immense power. He can take a punch, unlike I have seen often in the UFC. He could take a beating and continue to give a beating,
Yeah.
which is very rare in MMA. So good job to him. I would love to come out with you one day.
You know what it comes down to? It comes down to the heart. Like that's heart. Like when you're against another badass. But he'll fight anybody. He's fighting Neil Magny in Brazil, representing the Volt Army. There might be some sort of a Volt. I don't want to give away too much, but he might be doing some sort of a promotion for Volt at the fight in front of millions of eyeballs. So Volt might get in front of millions of eyeballs. But Brazil is going to get Volted. But yeah, this project, man, has been nothing but amazing, right? Like really. I had a guy call me yesterday, guys, and this stays between us, to everybody in the chat. He called me yesterday and was like, hey, this is our token. This is what we're trying to do. We're pretty much just trying to copy Volt's game plan. That's what he said. He's like, yeah, we're going to try to get listed on exchanges and get influencers and do all this. He's like, pretty much what Volt's doing. So yeah, Volt's been changing the game, man. How do you feel about this? You don't own any Volt. Your opinion, give us your opinion just like you want. Like we saw Shiba Inu run, but it launched during a bull market. We saw a bunch of different meme coins run. They launched during a bull market. What do you think happens when a token has launched during a bear market? Obviously, you don't have all the information on Volt, but I can kind of give you it's doing incredible things. It's building the most that we've seen out of any DeFi token. They launched during a bear market. They've been going for a year. They have 65,000 holders. They have NFT projects. They have 98 centralized exchange listings. What do you think happens when the market starts to pick up? What do you think happens to a token like Volt if they continue on the same trajectory that they're on now?
I think that the players that we should focus on would be the ones that come in when there isn't hype. I mean, I look at that in the cannabis industry, for example. It's like, did you come in during the hype era, or did you come in during it was really hard era and nobody wanted to be here era? And that usually shows you how serious individual or a business is with what they're promoting. My problem that I always see in cryptocurrency bull markets are that so many people flood in for just more dollars that they forget, DeFi, decentralization, all of these systems that are building the future. And during bear markets are actually the time where you get to see the philosophy of cryptocurrency push the hardest. And then it shows you who the real serious players are, because when things are bad and you keep going down the route of decentralization, you keep growing your company, that shows me that you are more philosophically aligned with the decentralized philosophy of the future. I'm currently only in Bitcoin right now. I pretty much sold off all my other stuff around the top of the last bull market, and I am just stacking Bitcoin for the moment. That might change, but given the last crash, definitely just Bitcoin for right now. So we'll see if I find a new project. But, the thing is that I kind of look at it in the sense of in the crypto world, we compare Bitcoin to other crypto a lot. And I feel like we shouldn't do that as much, because Bitcoin is its own special thing. And if you're building another project, try to figure out other things. Like, I mean, it seems I have like Volt Inu, for example. It seems like they're doing these other things. Bitcoin, it's like, we're money, we're an asset. Okay, cool. Bitcoin layer 3 is building right now with the Impervious browser. Actually, Jake, have you heard of the Impervious browser yet? Impervious AI?
Not really. Let's
get
go.
this.
Yeah, tell us
so
about
get
that.
this. I'll share this some Bitcoin news with y'all. What's happening right now in the Bitcoin space is that Bitcoin layer 3 has essentially started being built on the Lightning Network. So in the last bull market, we saw the Lightning Network get introduced. Bitcoin layer 2, things like Strike, rapid payments happen. Now on layer 3, they're building social media, Impervious. It's a browser, Zoom without Zoom, Drive without Drive. Essentially, you can do all of these things in the browser. Sorry, what?
There's Drive, sorry.
Google Drive, sorry.
So
you could do all of these things on that network in that program, essentially. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, your portal to the peer-to-peer internet. So this is kind of one of those things where, I implore people that
Nice.
are not in Bitcoin, but in crypto to get a full picture of everything that's going on in the Bitcoin space too. I just noticed that there are
Nice.
big splits in the space. I'm a guy who's always trying to, bring everybody together for our common goal. Our common goal is decentralization. It's to free the world. It's to make the world a happier and healthier place. These are things that I'm sure we can all agree on. So to me, it doesn't really matter what's going down that road as long as people are philosophical. Let me ask you, Jake, does 𝗪𝗧𝗡𝗘𝗖𝗧 have a roadmap to decentralize and go into more of a decentralized autonomous organization style? Have they mentioned that at all?
Yeah, I mean, they're super decentralized, and their main use case right now is a decentralized exchange. So they just launched a decentralized exchange. They launched it at the perfect time, right? Like when all this FTX stuff is coming, and what's everybody like? There's so much FUD around exchanges. Everybody's talking about using decentralized exchanges. So that's their main use case right now. But yeah, they're fully decentralized. They're on a DeFi token. But yeah, check them out.
And they do audit reports as well, which is, as we see, not as common as it should be in the cryptocurrency world. So.
Exactly. Check him out. Ali said he doesn't seem excited about Volt at all. I mean, Amir, you got into crypto, what, like 10 years ago? It's like you started as a Bitcoin. I don't want to say, you probably started as a Bitcoin maxi, and then
I mean, back then there wasn't anything else. So it was just Bitcoin for the most part.
So you've adapted a little bit, but I think maybe you can't see his excitement. He's very stoic, but I'm sure his wheels are spinning. Drop some electricity bolts if you think Amir needs to get a bag. Let's just show him, because he likes communities as well. Show him what the community is like. Drop some electricity bolts, raid the comments, and let's show him what it's like. But this is something I can get behind, man. Like the fact that you can have encrypted messaging is so important. Like no one wants the government spying on their shit, right? Like that's something you don't want. Group video calls, are these all going to be encrypted as well?
This is all, yes. So this is all on the Lightning Network. So essentially when people talk shit on Bitcoin and they say, oh, Bitcoin can't even be money, the actual Bitcoin community is building layers and layers on the Bitcoin network right now. So it's my goal for Bitcoin to be the reserve currency of the world and for the systems of DeFi to be on the Bitcoin network. And it's not just my thought that should happen. What we're seeing with Impervious and other companies that are coming and doing similar things is that we're seeing a proper use case now for the Bitcoin network, proving a lot of these things that a lot of these shitcoins could not prove over these years, right? Like so many of these shitcoins came in over these last few years and promised all of these ideas. I mean, think about all of the browsers. I mean, I'm using Brave browser right now, for example, right? So Brave, it's its own cryptocurrency. So, you think about those things and it's like, well, Impervious isn't a cryptocurrency. It's just built on the Bitcoin network and it's a Bitcoin ecosystem essentially. So, nice. I think that like building these ecosystems is kind of what we should be working towards, and also connecting the blockchains. If we're in a decentralized space, then that means there could be room for multiple players in this space. The reason that I support Bitcoin as much as I do is because just over the last, over 10 years, I've just compared it to other projects that I've been in long term. Like, for example, Cardano. I invested in Cardano years ago, not this last bull market, the last bear market. And it just, I think you said it last night in the space, Jake, like, where's your product? They still don't have a product. So this is the problem I have with cryptocurrency, the space oftentimes. And what I implore the people watching to check on is when people say that they have a product, like, for example, I own a business, right? If I came out and I said, hey guys, I have Specker now, and in 5 years, I'm going to make a pain relief lotion. And then 5 years happens, and I'm like, hey guys, I don't have a pain relief lotion yet, but keep giving me your money. That doesn't make any sense in the normal business world. But with certain cryptocurrency companies, it's just, no, we're getting there. No, something's happening. Bro, it's been over 5 years now. Like, where is the product? So I implore people watching to really check on how serious that team is on building a product. Do they actually have a product? I mean, you're mentioning, Jake, you're like, well, you know, they have their decentralized exchange. They're building products. So at least you can use that as a more accurate road to go down than a lot of these players who have been in the game for a long time that keep making promises. People keep investing. They keep staying in the top 100, and they're never going through and fulfilling their promises.
Yeah, exactly. That's a perfect example, Cardano. And just scroll through the comments. Look at the comments. We asked them, drop some less electricity bolts if you think Amir should check out Volt. So hopefully that's enough for you just at least do your own research.
That's a lot of it. All right, that's enough electricity volts for me to
crazy. The community is so strong.
Get it on this, y'all.
Yeah, just to check it out, right? You don't have to buy it today, but just to do your research. Look at it. Look at the NFT project. Look at the decentralized exchange. Look what they're doing. I think it's a special project. But the impervious, it's like that's something that we can all get behind. And yeah, the fact that like text messages are recorded forever, and it's like there are things like Signal. I think the world is moving to a more decentralized ecosystem. I'm sure the government hates it, right? Like the government probably hates people using Signal. I'm surprised that the U.S. government even allows that to be an application, because realistically, like I forget that, was it the Freedom Act where they're able to spy on people? The Freedom Act? It might be the Freedom Act.
The Patriot Act was the thing that officially publicly started mass spying. And the things that were built after the Patriot Act with Edward Snowden's leaks showed all of the specific systems that spy on us. So I've actually theorized recently that regardless of our conversations on Signal, if the NSA or the CIA or whatever, if they want to get your stuff, they just go into your phone. It's just a screen record and a key record. So that's the kind of access the government has.
Pegasus, right? They have Pegasus.
Yes, that's one of the program names. Yes, with the spying programs. So the Patriot Act essentially authorized all of these different spying apparatuses. And to this day, we're seeing problems because in America, up until 9/11, privacy was a hallmark of our culture and our society. After 9/11, with the global war on terror that started, many people were just like, hey, man, go get those terrorists. Do whatever you got to do. Go make Homeland Security. TSA, now you got to take your shoes off at the airport. All this dumb stuff that, we still do to this day.
Why the shoes?
Because there was one guy who tried to, bring in, explosive stuff with the shoes. So you could pack weapons, you could pack things in your shoes essentially. So then they make you take your shoes off. So
Amir, you're sounding so Volted says no.
I do sound baby. Volted, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, how do you feel about that? And it's weird like that you have to be careful what you say on YouTube. Like on Twitter now, it's free speech. You can say whatever. But it's like I see both sides. I personally feel like the fact that they are able to tap into people's phones and hear conversations, and they have Siri spy on you at all times, like they're able to stop a lot of bad things that happen. I really believe that. Like with mass shootings, like if people are talking about it or people are planning stuff, like I guarantee, I'd be willing to bet. I'm not a betting man unless it's on crypto, but I'd be willing to bet that they've stopped hundreds, if not thousands, of whether it's mass shootings or catastrophic events because of spying on people.
Actually, the fact on that is little to none have been stopped.
Really?
And this is actually the problem that they have.
Well, where are you getting like that? Like, where's that report from?
I will pull that up for you.
Because I would like to see that, but I feel like they have to. If like what was that one kid in Texas? He like sent a picture of his gun to people. It's like they're spying on you. I feel like they have to be able to stop a lot of these.
This is the problem. They're spying on you, but then they're not doing anything. This is why people are so pissed because so this is the problem. In the American government system, it's very decentralized. The American system is pretty cool. It's decentralized in a way to where the NSA is here, the FBI is here, the county sheriff is here, the city council is there, the city police are there, and none of them talk too freely and too often. And the NSA, for example, the NSA has never admitted that they spy on people. So there is no actual legal rights for spying. So in courts, for example, there have been times where they found out that people found certain things through like NSA documents and stuff, but they could never tell the court that they got those because that's not legal. They didn't acquire that legally because that's a secret. All the spying stuff is a secret. Therefore, it's not public. Therefore, you can't use it in a court of law. So that's the problem with the spying apparatus, is that they have it, they're using it, but they're not actually doing enough to stop it. And the reason is because Big Brother is just a bunch of people like us. It's a bunch of people working in an office building on the same computers as us, on the same social media as us, eating the same foods, doing the same things. And we can't imagine that we can't think that these people are like benevolent gods that could just stop everything. And this is another thing I, throw to you, Jake, is that if this is the case, then in America, when there wasn't mass spying in the 20th century, then why weren't there mass shootings happening all the time? Why is it that when the mass shootings intensified was also when the spying and stuff intensified too? What we find is actually the FBI is the one who's creating and vetting terrorists. They've been caught multiple times. Essentially, they go and take some autistic kid, some Muslim autistic kid, and then they go and groom him, and then they arrest him.
Yeah,
so
we have seen that.
And then they say, "Oh, we caught the terrorist." You know,
I've heard of that case before. Like someone from Russia was selling like nukes, or like, and they were like, "Hey, do you want to buy some nukes too?" And yeah, there's cases like that. I also think there's probably a high correlation between mental health and these mass shootings, right? Like this is the most anxious, stressed, and depressed I've ever seen people, I think, that there's ever been, which is crazy because it's the greatest time to be alive. But you know what I think the issue is the media, technology, how we get thousands of different articles every single second thrown at us, whether it's good or bad. It's like we're becoming so sensitized to all of this information, and it's not like our brains are not meant to take in this much information. A shooting in Iraq, we had a stabbing in Vermont, there was a lady murdered in Florida. It's like you're taking in all this shit back in the 1920s. Why was there less craziness? And just overall, it's because there wasn't as much controversy. You were just taking in what you heard in the local newspaper or word of mouth, and now we take in all of the bad shit that happens around the world on a daily basis, and I just don't think it's good for people.
I totally agree with you. I'm a history major. I love studying history. So I regularly think back, for example, when the state of Israel was being created, right? What do you think social media would be looking like at that time when the 6-Day War happened and all those, the battles on Twitter would be intense, right? And as a result, there would be these protests in the street and people fighting in the streets and this. And so, yes, to your point, I totally agree that, every time I open social media, I have to even, I don't do that when I start my day. I do it after I've started my day because
I don't even look at my phone. Yeah, I don't even look at my phone until after I work out. Like I still haven't even checked it today. Like what time is it? It's 9:49 a.m. I haven't even looked at my phone.
I have not. Yeah, exactly. And this is, anybody who's watching, start your day without looking at your phone. Try as hard as you can to not look at any artificial light until you go outside and look at natural light. And that's not just to be healthy. That's so that you can work your hardest and make the most money. So if you don't want to be healthy and you just want to make money, this is efficient for you to go make money too. So whether you want to be healthy, whether you want to go be rich, or whether you want both, doing these practices helps you be more efficient. So if you can spend your day being more focused and not having to use stimulants and all this bullshit to keep you going like SBF was, then you will do a better job being healthy and making more money. So go outside, get some natural light before you get artificial light. Even if you have to go to the bathroom in the morning, just keep the light off.
Absolutely. Shout out to Ian Randall. Shout out to Eddie T. Shout out to Buck Dragon, Michael Campos, Chad, Stretch, Danix, Movement. No, always good to see you in here. AK-47 here, Eddie T, Lacoste, everybody is in here. But I agree. Volt that voice up, Amir says, no. Volt that voice up. I agree, though. It's like, I almost dread looking at my phone in the mornings, because I'm like, dude, there's going to be so much shit on there. And it just could be a text message from a friend or, something. Like something's on there. So that's why I wake up at 5:20 a.m. Don't look at my phone. Take a pee, brush my teeth, put some cold water on my face, get in the car, drive to the gym, do a hard workout at 6 a.m. 7 a.m. comes around. I've been up for 90 minutes. So I've had my coffee. I go get my coffee, come home, shower, journal, meditate, and then I hop on here and do some stuff. But yeah.
Nice. So you drink your caffeine after your workout. Is that correct?
Yeah, after.
Actually, there's some science that shows that drinking caffeine after a workout can help with fat burning and stuff. So, and actually, if you're doing it in the morning, what you're doing, Jake, is actually very intelligent. To wait to get your essentially, you're getting your natural boost by yourself naturally, and then you use the stimulant to keep you going through the rest of the day. Because, I mean, as I'm sure you know, when you get a morning workout in, you're kind of like, if you go hard, it's hard to keep going. So it's good, instead of having coffee all throughout the day, you space it out and use it like it's a drug, and not abuse it, essentially. Because once you abuse it, then you're not going to have a good time with it, and it's just going to keep you more stressed out with the world, with all these things we're talking about. When you're like wired off of coffee and you're scrolling and you're seeing this war, this mass shooting, it just stresses you out even more, So I always say minimize your coffee use, but use it in a way so that you can be a true biohacker. And it sounds like you're doing it in the best biohacking way possible.
I've learned through my experience, or I've learned a lot of stuff, like what works, what doesn't. And it's like, one, I didn't like to be, because once you have that Celsius, let's just say, before your workout at 5 a.m., it's like, you want it. You're going to want that every time, right? You want that caffeine before every workout, because it's tough to do it without when you've done it. And then two, it's like you're drinking a 200 milligrams Celsius at 5 a.m., 5:30 a.m., whatever, before 6. And then you're going to crash a little bit. And then you're going to drink another huge coffee in the afternoon. You're going to crash. So it's just what I found most healthy. And I've learned a lot, even like trying not to scroll. Everybody's guilty of scrolling. But, one thing I really do that's helped me a lot, and this just is learning from putting out content for quite some time, is like to not read comments. Like, I'll read these comments because everybody in here is like their family, right? They're in here every day. We're chatting, like it's all good. But it's like on my Twitter, like I've learned to never go through my notifications. Like that's it. That button right there on Twitter, that notification button, is forbidden to me. I don't click it because it's not good for you to go on there and read what everybody in the world has to say about you. It's not good for your mental health. I always try to tell this to all my friends, like Rodney and Ian and B Roots, all these guys. I'm like, yo, like, stop responding to these trolls that you've never met, that are probably bots, that are calling you an asshole or a liar or a scammer. It's like, it's not good for you to take that in. So that's been one thing. No matter how big your platform is, like, I don't think you should be engaging with trolls, because we're not supposed to have all these written conversations, like we're supposed to talk to people in person. Or even this is a little bit foreign, right? Like talking to a friend of mine on a screen is foreign, but you're definitely not supposed to be taking in opinions from every single person in the world that can say whatever they want, good or bad. If someone's saying, Amir, you're so great, I love you, that's not good for you either. Or if someone's like, fuck you, Amir, like that's not good for you either, right? But I appreciate all the nice comments, and the comments are 95% nice. But what does your brain do when they focus on the 5%? So I've just learned, I've set boundaries. I never click the notifications thing. Sometimes something pops up on main feed and it's about me or talking about me, and you can't stop that. But it's like, I try to tell all my friends and people that are listening here, you guys too, like, stop clicking those notifications. It's not good for you to see every opinion about you.
When you read the comments section of your content too often, it makes you confused, and you don't. So over these in my 30s now, I've decided stop reading the comments. In my 20s, I was reading all the comments, responding, debating. And one thing I realized was, wait a minute, I'm still poor. And this is a major factor to me not being filthy rich yet, because all you have to do, I implore anybody who's watching this right now, anytime you want to respond back to a hater, put your timer on your phone and just see how long it takes you to respond. Even if that's 2 or 3 minutes to respond, even if it's 30 seconds, that pulls you away from work. You'll be sitting there and doing work, and then you look at your phone and you're like, I'm just going to respond to this person for a few minutes. Well, that just threw you out of your flow as well. So that person didn't just take a few minutes out of your life. That person threw you out of the most important part of your day, which is your flow state. So you have to it's very hard. And I guess it's part of the spiritual practice, being a content creator, is you have to remove yourself from the situation. And, like you're saying, Jake, just don't read the comments. If somebody, this is how I look at it.
It's tough.
If somebody really has something to say to me, they'll message me and I'll talk to them in the DMs. And if it's a hater, then there's no reason at all to say anything. That DM's still going to show up. You'll see it. You don't need to respond. If it's somebody who's saying something nice, you get to respond back. Say, thank you so much. I appreciate it. But yeah, as you're saying, Jake, I spent so many of my years in my 20s thinking, oh my God, is this right? Somebody's going to say this well, if I do this, the comment section is going to say that. If I do this, and then it just made me freeze essentially. And you can't move as fast as you usually do. And you actually notice this with a lot of content creators when they've been in the game for a long time. They're constantly like, I can't say this. I don't know about this. The comments are good. I don't. And then they're just frozen, and you could tell they're not moving as fast. So yeah, I just hope that we're moving into a world, and I hope the new Twitter is the algorithms are set up in a way to where we can be interacting more with positive people over negative people. This is one thing I've noticed recently. It has nothing to do with left and right. It has to do with people that are positive and people that are negative. I have really good friends from all sides of the political spectrum. Who are those friends? They're the positive people. If you're negative, I don't care if you're a communist or a liberal or a conservative or whatever. It's just going to be annoying hanging out with you because we're not talking about enlightening ideas. Essentially, the ideas you're talking about are bringing people down. So, I implore people also to find more positive people in their lives so that they don't have to surround themselves with haters. And, we notice a lot of the times growing up, we surround ourselves with a lot of people we call friends, but you notice as you get older, like, wait a minute, those people were just bullies that we considered friends. That's not a real friendship. Friends uplift each other, right? So I implore people, go find people that are positive. Don't worry about politics. Just worry about people who are actually positive over negative. That's what makes the world go.
Yeah. And true friends support you when you have success. Like that's something that's important. Like I found that in, not to say I'm uber successful, but like, I built a nice platform and was doing well. And I'd say I saw friends not happy for me, like almost wishing that I would fail. So it's like true friends are happy when you succeed. You can feel like the actual enthusiasm, like my buddy Eddie, who you might have met. I don't know, but he's like very happy when I succeed or reach milestones. Like you can feel it. And it's like, I have other friends that, that might say good job, but it's like, they're like, oh, fuck, I hate my life. Like, why is he doing better than me? So you have to have good friends
let me tell you, how happy I am for you and the gains you've made these last few years. I knew you a long time ago, right? We've known each other going almost 6 years now, 5-6 years.
Yeah.
So, I've seen you when you were there. Now you coming up, you put in the hard work. I'm so proud of you. I'm so happy for your gains. And yeah, you really notice who your friends are with that exact thing right there. Because I noticed exactly the same thing. The more my company gets bigger, the more I rise, the less I find the people I thought were my closest friends are actually there to support you. And what it does is it shows you, wow, those people over there actually support me way more than those real people that I knew. And to the point I made earlier, there is a lot of friendships that we have growing up that aren't real friendships, and they're just bullying relationships. And then when we grow up, we're like, oh my God, why isn't this person a friend? Well, because our friendship was never actually a loving relationship. Anyway, we were just some teenagers who were all angry at life and just hanging out and talking shit to each other,
Absolutely. And people are agreeing. And thank you for the kind words, bro. And yeah, we've known each other. We met at a New Year's party at, was his name like Jed or Jad or something?
That was for my company's launch party. That was that guy's house was
Specker or a different company?
That was my company before Specker. So Specker started
that was a crazy party. We
had a split. And that's why I've taken Specker in the very principled way I've had, and why I self-fund the company, and why I refuse to get in bed with money people. And I'm just doing it all myself and building it from the ground up, truly grassroots, for the reason to retain creative freedom. Because if you want to have the highest quality ingredients in your products and you want to retain those things, and I again, something I throw back at anybody, if you want to start a business, do it yourself, self-fund it yourself as much as you can. Because if you have a creative vision and you want that creative vision to scale all the way to the top, when you bring in the money people, they're not creative. They don't have your vision, and your vision stops where the money comes in. So I implore people to build as much as you can by yourself. It is a harder road, but it is a more fulfilling road to do that. So yeah, that was one of the launch parties we had for that company. So it's crazy that, we've known each other through so many different moments in our lives too.
Stages. Stages.
It's wild.
Hey, I owe you the biggest thank you. You got me out of veganism. It wasn't that day. I think I did it for a little while, but then I was like, I was so depleted. So, and honestly, like, you were a big reason of why I even start. Like, I was doing a podcast about spiritual life and finance and CEOs and stuff. And like we had our Bitcoin talk. I was like, fuck, I'm gonna start doing some Bitcoin content. So a lot of like, dude, if we never had that conversation, I don't think I would be where I'm at today. Shout out to Ian Randall. He said, having a positive circle of influence can definitely influence others around you to be positive. Spread positivity and love through every interaction. Our chat's going incredible. Bud Yeti,
yeah, this is a fun chat. I love this.
Bud Yeti said Amir's fucking awesome.
Hey,
Shout out to Bud Yeti.
Bud? Thank you
Guys,
so
let me
much
know your
for
thoughts
that.
on Amir. Everybody let you know your thoughts on Amir. Said thank you for him joining us. We appreciate him. 𝗪𝗧𝗏, only worry about things you can control. If you focus on the things you can't control, you always be on the back foot. I wish nothing but success for everyone in here. 100% 𝗪𝗧𝗏, we agree. And then Nanu said, invest in Volt is a life-changing, not financial advice. Amir, while we have you here, give us a little background on Specker. What is Specker? I have the website pull up here for anybody that's interested in maybe some health benefits from Specker.
Yeah, so Specker is my health optimization company. I'm the founder and CEO. It is a cryptocurrency friendly company as well, which means you could buy with different cryptocurrencies. And I've had that integrated into Specker since I launched the company in 2018. I was always focused on connecting cryptocurrency into it. My goal with Specker is to create the highest quality natural products and show the world that you can have the best health products using only natural ingredients, no synthetics, no fillers. And the products that I make are targeted to the endocannabinoid system of the body, which is the master regulatory system of the human body. So when we think about the immune system and the lymphatic system and the digestive system and all these systems of the body, these are all modulated and regulated by the endocannabinoid system. So compounds like CBD, for example, help balance and regulate your endocannabinoid system. And the other ingredients that I use are targeted to balancing and regulating your endocannabinoid system so that you can be as optimal and healthy, as happy as possible. Ultimately, my goal is just to make the world a happier and healthier place. And I recognize that I can do that through finished health products, because I got to a point where I was buying all these health products and they sucked. The ingredients sucked. And I just realized, hey, I could probably do this better myself. I'm also a formulation scientist. So every Specker product that you all see, those ingredients were formulated by myself and just by myself. So
nice.
Yeah, y'all could support the business. We're a small business trying to grow, doing it grassroots style. And it would be greatly appreciated. So
I am going to support because I started taking like these like cannabis edibles, but I just don't really like being high personally, but I still want like the benefits of CBD. So I am going to support, guys. I put the link right here, or I put the website speckerhealth.com, guys. If you want to support, you're supporting a good man who's doing it himself. That is, you know, a decentralized person trying to push crypto forward. So check it out.
Bro. I appreciate that. I appreciate the shout out on that.
And I am going to actually buy some. I don't know if you want me to buy from the site or go through you or whatever. I'll buy it from the site. But I need some CBD. Like I know the benefits from it. And the new branding and new labeling looks fucking phenomenal.
Thank you, bro. Thank you. That's one of those things where if you're working with all these money people, they're the ones who control how your labels go, what you can change, when to change it.
Yeah.
When you do things and you're the boss, you get to choose what you want. It's all in your court. So, that's arguably why guys like Elon Musk are so successful. So I use a very similar style to Elon Musk. It's like, do things yourself, learn the industry yourself, so that you can actually know what's right and wrong. Most people who do finished products, health products, for example, the founders and CEOs, the executive boards, they don't know science. They don't know ingredients. They get a chemist that comes in and then they say, hey, this is the ingredient. It's healthy. This is biohacking. And then the executive board says, okay, yeah, that's great. Let's do it. And then they do it. And then a guy like me looks at that ingredients list and says, this is trash. Who told you that this is good?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm placing a fat Christmas order right now, dude. We should have kept it this close because we look good. We look good together, man, on this stream. Looking great, guys.
Bro, we
Amir,
definitely look related, dude.
Mom, are you watching this? You got some questions to answer, Mom. What were you doing in Iran in 1994, Mom? Yeah, dude, that's the thing about me, bro, is I was traveling and I get every single people like, are you like speaking to me? And when I was in Greece, the Greek guys were speaking to me in Greek. And they're like, oh shit, we thought you were Greek. I'm like, no, dude, I'm
They
American. When
think
I was,
I'm Greek too. I get
yeah, you can be Greek.
Armenian, Italian, Israeli a lot.
You look
and,
Israeli, bro, because I'm
yeah.
Israeli. You look as like that's why, or that's probably why we look alike. You could be Hungarian, but yeah, like if you go to Israel, everybody looks like us. Like just
Jake,
dark hair.
man, I'd love to. I want to talk to you one day about the history of Iran and Israel and the
Yes.
thousands years history of positive connections.
Really?
At the two, yes. This is the wildest. Talking about history, I guess. Like, if I could go on this little tangent to show how connected we all
Go
are.
on it. Come on. Go on it.
Okay, so get this. So I believe it's. I tweeted about this the other day. Iran and Persia is mentioned 240 times in the Bible, the Hebrew Bible, the Old Testament.
The Torah.
Yes. So the stories, you're Jewish, right? So the stories that you hear, who sanctioned the second temple being built? Cyrus the Great, the Persian king. He saved the Jews from Babylon. He told the Jews, come to the Persian Empire. You can practice your religion freely. We will not oppress you. And I will pay you guys and bring money back over there, and you can build the second temple. And this is like a story that's in the Bible. So the building of the second temple. And so arguably, one can make the argument that if Cyrus the Great did not save the Jews and everybody else from the Babylonian Empire, and Babylon, we hear about Babylon in Judaism and Christianity and Abrahamic faiths very often. Babylon was a real place, and the Persian Empire is who beat Babylon.
Wow.
And when they beat Babylon, they essentially freed the people. And as a result, one could argue that the monotheistic Judaism that we see today and is practiced mainly today was first created in Iran and then brought over to what is modern day Israel today. So it's a crazy history. So it blows my mind today that Iranians and Israelis are like so like this,
Yeah.
but it also shows that, Iran is a Islamic theocracy, and the era that I'm talking about is thousands of years before Islam was even a religion. So it shows that Jewish and Iranian culture, and we ask ourselves all the time, like, wow, we share so many cultural similarities. Why is that? Well, because we're essentially thousands of years ago, our cultures evolved together in the same place. And then from there, we kind of moved out. But those cultural norms that we have stay very similar, which is why when you go to Israel today, I mean, actually, there are a lot of Iranian Jews in Israel, right? So many of the Iranians stayed there. They say that there are about 30,000 left in Iran today. So this is one of the things that people don't really know about either. Fun fact that Iran has the biggest Jewish population in the Middle East outside of Israel. So it's these weird connections that people wouldn't think on the front end face value that there are connections. But, I think that there is going to be a lot of positivity between the two countries and the two cultures once this history kind of gets out, because we do a lot of divide and conquer history. The modern history we know is like, you hate this person, you hate this person. But when you take it back farther than that into the actual stories of the religions that built our civilization, Judeo-Christian traditions, for example, we find that the connections are like one and the same, hand in hand.
Absolutely. That's wild. I had no idea about the history. Look, the Jews go back thousands and thousands of years. Most of the history is not good. That's why when you said, our people got along, I was like, what? Like everybody hates the Jews, or at least hated our religion, and our people have been oppressed for thousands of years.
So actually, to the point where there is a story about Cyrus's Persian Empire, where they found that some general was going to go against the Jews and try to take out the Jews because they had a lot of power in Iran. And this like shows how connected they were. The Jewish people were very powerful in the Persian Empire, and there were haters back then. And those haters tried to take the Jews out, and the Persian king essentially came and he's like, no. And he went after the people that tried to come after the Jews, and he protected the Jews essentially. So, this history shows that there's such a deep connection between these different cultures. And we see that when, the whole the Islamic Caliphate grew and they took over the Middle East, a lot of this history kind of disappeared because in Iran today, for example, the Iranian government doesn't really allow too many ancient Persian, ancient Iranian ideas to be talked about, to the point where if you have ancient Iranian names, the Iranian government, and you put that on their birth certificate and you say, this is what I want my child's name to be, you'll go to the notary place for the government and they'll reject the name and only make you have an Islamic approved name, essentially. So, they've done a very good job of pushing these concepts away to where most people don't even know that they exist today.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's a wild, wild history. But guys, that's the show right there. Make sure to check out Amir. His Twitter is here. A lot of people in the chat really enjoyed your thoughts, your ideologies. And then if you want to support him, Christmas is coming up. Maybe your mom, maybe your grandma, maybe you, maybe someone in your family needs some CBD to help with back pain, neck pain, all different types of benefits here. Check them out, speckerhealth.com. As always, Amir, we appreciate you coming on the show. Guys in the chat, we appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. John, Marky Faz, Charlotte said we both look like models. Pulse Chain, Jack Clap, F Joe, Marshawn Lynch, Nanu No, NZ, Michael Journey. We appreciate each and every one of you guys. Thank you so much. Doc Hughes, thank you guys. Philip, we love you all. Eddie T, the whole squad
thank you,
was
my
in
ultra.
Here. Everybody was in here. Thank you guys so much. If I miss your name, doesn't mean I don't love you. We appreciate you. We'll be back tomorrow at 9 a.m. PST with Pablo and Power on the Jake Hagan Show, the Volted Wednesday live streams. Thank you all so much. Have a great day, and we'll see you all soon.